Series racing from Darlington. This is Mountaineers 17, bringing you trucks action tonight. We have Scotty Jr. on the pole. You can see his 30.38 second time. He'll be followed by Mucka, starting second, last week's winner. And then Extra Seasoning starting third, Scotty D starting fourth, and starting fifth, Ratliff. We have Ruby the One. He missed qualifying, but he will be racing tonight. Possibly a couple others. Should be getting ready to start soon. As always, Hooters Truck Series Racing presented by Big Ten Racing. Big Ten Racing resumes its season on... Yeah, I started the broadcast. Oh, do I need to join? Oh, damn, they already started. Alright. Alright, looks like we missed the start a little bit. They got started a tad early this week. Like I said, Scotty Jr. was on the pole with Mucka starting second. We'll see where we are here. Should be about lap 2 when we join. And, oh, we've got a wreck early. Alright, so Scotty Jr. leading the field. He's followed by Mucka in the O2 truck. And Mucka's getting ready to make a move already. Passing going to be at a premium tonight. Darlington probably the narrowest track on the circuit. Mucka got close to the wall. You're going to see a lot of that, especially off turn 2. It gets really skinny, really tight. And there's Mucka sliding into 3. Scotty closes the door on him on exit. They have a big lead on third place. That's Scotty D, followed by Seasoning, Ratliff, and Ruby. Oh, we've got a yellow. It looks like an accident between Ruby and Ratliff. So Ruby and Ratliff are battling back in 5th place. Scotty Jr. will lead them down to pit road here. So, got a few laps in. We'll see if anybody wants to make adjustments. You can make stage 1 just 20 laps. You can make stage 1 without making a pit stop. Track position's important, but I think that tire wear is important too. And also, people want to make adjustments. Oh, Scotty stays out. Mucka pits. So it's split. Mucka pits as well as Scotty D and Ratliff, while Seasoning and Ruby stay with Scotty on the track. Hey Scott, how many laps? So they will restart, I think, this time with 13 to go in the first stage. 20 laps for the first 2 stages, and then a 28 lap finale. Mucka followed by Scotty D and Ratliff off pit road. So now Mucka Was battling for the lead. Now he'll restart in 4th. It'll be interesting to watch him on this restart and see if he can make that time back up. They are going to try to go green here. Oh, muck in the wall. Scotty Jr. brings them into the restart zone. And they are green. Seasoning did not get a good jump, but Ruby's right on Scotty's back bumper. Scotty D makes an aggressive move going for 3rd. And a few drivers off the wall, and Scotty, or Mucka's around, collects Ratliff. And this appears to be a game caution. Oh, did Ruby just lag out? So Ruby has disconnected. And apparently it was not game related, just a mistake from Ruby. And that will bring us down to 5 drivers for the rest of the night. Scotty Jr., Scotty D, Seasoning, Mucka, Ratliff. Nine laps left in the stage. Scotty D tries to make a move for the lead. And that backfires horribly. He loses a ton of time through 1 and 2. Ratliff drops to 5th. Scotty D deep into turn 3. You got Seasoning and Mucka in the wall, but Scotty D right on Scotty Jr.'s back bumper. Old Scotty versus new Scotty. Into 1. You see that Scotty D in that 52 truck is just driving it much deeper into the corner. Just avoided the wall on exit. Mucka still holding in 4th. He makes a move for 3rd. Into Seasoning. Seasoning into the wall. Back into Mucka. Meanwhile, for the lead, Scotty D takes a peek. Scotty Jr. going to try to cut him off, but he slides up the track. Scotty D went a little too low in 2. Mucka, meanwhile, has cycled back to 5th. Oh, and Scotty right into the wall. But Scotty D is unable to take advantage. You can just tell Scotty D getting way better into the corner than Scotty Jr. Remember, Scotty Jr. stayed out on that first caution while Scotty D took tires. Gets to the inside, they touch, and it is Scotty D taking the lead at Darlington. And he is pulling away. Scotty Jr., I think, is affected by those tires right now. You can see Seasoning has dropped to 5th. He's the other one that stayed out on that first yellow. Here comes Mucka trying to make a pass. Can't get it done. 4 laps left in the stage. This is Scotty D's stage right now. Mucka takes a peek inside the 99, can't get it done. Oh, but the 99's a rat in the wall, and it takes out Mucka. The 99 of Ratliff hit the wall, collided with Mucka, who I believe got contact from the 51 as well. Three laps left in the stage. This is all Scotty D looking for his first career stage win. Scotty Jr. holding up Seasoning and Ratliff right now. Coming to the line, 2 left in the stage. Seasoning peeks to the outside, now tries to cross over, and just can't get the move. Passing so difficult, this track is so narrow. And Scotty D coming around to take the white flag this time. Scotty Jr., I think, gained on him that last lap. Scotty D running low, Scotty Jr. running high, and Scotty Jr. getting a run down the back straightaway. It's not going to be enough this late in the stage. Seasoning in the wall, Ratliff into Seasoning. Scotty Jr. in the wall, and it's Scotty D picking up his first stage win of the season. A nice run by the 52 truck. Made the pass for the lead and did not look back. Now I think everybody's going to want fresh tires right here, after Scotty D showed what kind of difference it can make. Getting ready for stage 2 here. Should be another 20 lap stage. 52 will lead them down. They are back green at Darlington. A good jump by the 24 on the outside. Scotty D will cut it way to the inside, and he can't clear the 24. Scotty Jr. back to the lead. Ratliff wiggling down the back straightaway. And Mucka will pass him for 4th. Ratliff into the wall. Seasoning into the wall. Just earning those Darlington stripes early on. It has been the Scotty and Scotty show, the only 2 drivers to lead so far. Scotty Jr. in the 24 truck and Scotty D in the 52. Oh, and there goes Scotty Jr. hard into the wall. That lets Scotty D get right to his back bumper. He'll try to make a move in 3. Nothing happening there. And I'm hearing reports the 99 truck of Ratliff has lagged out of the race, so we will be down to 4 trucks for the remainder. So it's Scotty Jr., Scotty D, then Seasoning. Oh, and there goes Scotty D into Seasoning. That's going to bring out a yellow. The 52 truck just lost control and went around. Looks like Mucka was able to take 2nd in that. Now we saw in stage 1 when we had our caution, Scotty Jr. stayed out, Scotty D was able to get right past him with fresher tires. Now passing's been very difficult. Mucka's been mired in traffic. But I think the move here is to pit, get your tires. See what the leaders do. Mucka is going to stay out. He wants track position. But he's not going to get it because Scotty Jr. stays out as well. Seasoning and Scotty D, with nothing to lose, will come into pit here. How many laps? So 13 to go right now. We'll restart with 12 to go. Very similar to the situation from stage 1. And we'll see if Scotty D or Seasoning will now have anything with their fresh tires for Mucka and Scotty Jr. So, quick reminder, Hooters Truck Series Racing presented by Big Ten Racing. Big Ten Racing will be starting Season 2 on Thursday with the duels at Daytona to set the starting lineup for the Daytona 500. You can catch myself, you can see Scotty Jr., Extra Seasoning, Ruby, and it will all be broadcast on the Big Ten Racing YouTube channel, so check that out on Thursday, and then on Friday will be Big Ten Racing's Daytona 500 Season 2. Alright, they're going to go green here. And Scotty Jr. gets a... Oh, no, the 0-2 of Mucka gets a great jump. Mucka gonna try to make the pass on the outside. He's there on the quarter panel. He's gonna get him off of 2. Mucka to the lead for the first time. And Seasoning puts the 24 in the wall. Seasoning all over the back of Scotty Jr. in 3 and 4, put him in the wall, puts him all the way back to 4th, and he also is hurting on tires, but right now Mucka has the lead and he is pulling away. Oh, there's contact between the 52 and 24, no longer battling for the lead, now battling for 3rd. And Scotty Jr. makes the pass. Mucka right up against the wall, somehow didn't hit it. Seasoning got a good run through 3 and 4. Seasoning and Scotty D have those better tires. Let's see if that pays off here. The field's starting to get a little spread out. Mucka starting to pull away from Extra Seasoning despite the tire advantage for the 51 truck. We've got a couple Chevys and a couple Toyotas left in the field. Right into the wall. He's trying to hold off the 52 truck, the stage 1 winner, Scotty D. And Scotty D's favored the low lane on entry. We've seen just about everybody else on the high lane on entry, but that 52 is making good time on the bottom. Drifts up there, and both him and the 51 tag the wall. Here comes Scotty D looking for 2nd. Got to run down the backstretch. Can't get him into 1. But that 52's been strong on corner exit. No, not that time. 51 truck yards him. Scotty D just tagged the wall again. Mucka has driven away with this stage. 6 laps left and the 2 truck got the lead and said, "See you later." He wants nothing to do with the battling going on back here. Scotty D struggling to control his truck right now. He's sliding up into the wall just about every corner. He's lost a ton of time to the 51 of seasoning. And Mucka definitely not affected by those tires the way that we saw Scotty Jr. in stage 1. They come to 5 to go here. Scotty Jr. all over the back of Scotty D looking for 3rd. Trying to increase his points, his stage point takeaway here. Gonna allow Scotty Jr. to get a run on the bottom. Can't get there. Slides back in to 4th. Mucka has run away from the 51, so the battle here is for 3rd between Scotty D and Scotty Jr. And Scotty Jr. gets to the outside. They make a little bit of contact, Scotty Jr. in the wall. Scotty D's gonna hang on to the spot. That's just Darlington. There's just no room when you are side by side here. I don't think Scotty D really did anything wrong. I mean, you're at Darlington, there's the groove, there's one groove, and there's just not room for multiple trucks. I mean, we see, you know, professional race car drivers and actual race cars struggle to run side by side through a corner at Darlington. And Scotty D in the wall, Scotty Jr. into his back bumper. Mucka has just taken off. This is the final lap of the stage. Scotty Jr. gets back to the outside. They touch again. Contact, contact. Scotty Jr. into the wall. Scotty D's gonna hang on to 3rd. And right there, you saw Scotty Jr. kind of pinch the 52 down on the bottom, and that just wasn't gonna end well. So it's Mucka, though, we should note, who wins stage 2. Just as he did last week at Richmond, a race he went on to win, and it looks like he's got the speed to do it again. So we'll get ready for stage 3 at Darlington.
I went back to my original setup because I like the way my truck drove when we first started.
Everybody's gonna come down, take 4 tires. The 02 in the lead, the 51 second, 52 third, and 24 in 4th. Stage 3 is underway at Darlington, and the 51 gets a huge jump. Scotty D might try to make it 3 wide. Battle for the lead, they touch. Here comes the 51 on the outside. Here comes Scotty Jr. Seasoning in the wall, so Mucka's clear for the lead, but Scotty Jr. right on his back bumper. They touch into 3. Scotty Jr. to the inside. Mucka shutting the door. They should be able to make it this whole stage without pitting, so this battle for the lead right now, hugely important. Mucka starting to pull away. Seasoning, Scotty D fell way off after they both... Oh, Scotty D's around. Second time tonight we've seen that out of our Stage 1 winner. And it appears that we're under yellow. Hey, why are you guys under caution?
I say,
Why are you guys under caution?
I guess
Did... Alright. Okay, so you just threw it for one? Alright. And it looks like everybody's gonna come down pit road. We'll see if anybody tries two-tire strategy. Track position's important. Tires are important. You gotta weigh them against each other here. In this one, this is probably gonna be the last stop of the race. I know Mucka doesn't want to give up that lead, so I really wouldn't be surprised to see a two-tire stop from him. Now, of course, 24 didn't really put the 2 in the wall there, but that's just what it looks like in NASCAR Heat 4. And Scotty Jr. does take 2 tires. He'll take the lead. An aggressive tire strategy from Scotty Jr. And the rest take 4, so Mucka, then Seasoning, and then the 52 truck of Scotty D. But it is now Scotty Jr., the control car on this key late restart. How many laps to go? Alright, thanks. So they will restart with 22 laps to go. Can Scotty Jr. on 2 tires hold the field off for that long? He's taking the inside, although the outside has done well on restarts. I would be taking the outside just to put the O2 on the inside. But we'll see how it works out for Scotty Jr. They are green. He clears the 2 truck. Oh, now the O2 seems like he's lagging the 51 truck hard into the wall. He gathers it, but lost a lot of time there. Mucka to the outside. He's got the pass. Yep, he's got the pass. The 2 of Mucka. Making a huge pass for the lead right there. And now I fully expect him to sail off into the sunset. 20 to go here. Mucka just making so much time on corner entry right now. That time Scotty Jr. gets into the corner better, but that's because he drove it in too deep and hits the wall. And one thing I should have noticed earlier, the 2, that appears to be the test scheme for the 2 truck. The no sponsors, no colors of any kind. Here comes the 51, extra seasoning, looking for second. side by side with Scotty Jr. Seasoning just finished second in stage 2, and he... Oh! And Scotty Jr. ends up going around. They will stay green. He battled with Seasoning, hooked him there. Mucka now with a huge lead. And they will go under caution now. Now, key decision. Does Mucka come in or stay out? I think if you're the 51 or the 52, you just have to do the opposite of whatever the 2 truck does right here. So the 2 stays out, the 51 comes in, the 52... Oh! Mucka slices and does pit. Everybody pits. I am surprised by Mucka's call there. I think he saw that his competition was coming in and called an audible. The 51 of extra seasoning. Does he try to take 2 here? Scotty Jr. basically is locked in to 4 tires. 2 on the last stop. Does not appear that anybody decided to take 2 this time. 4 tires will be the call. And Seasoning wins the race off pit road. The 51 is the new leader. Wow. Alright, now I'm going to say the same thing I said the last restart. The 51 needs to take the outside. (51, 2, 24, 52). We will go green one more time at Darlington. What is the 51 doing? We'll go on board the 51 for this restart. They enter the restart zone. And here they go. Extra seasoning will clear the 2 of Mucka. Can Scotty Jr. follow him? No, Mucka's gonna hang on to second. Oh, he hits the wall. Scotty Jr. to second. Mucka falls to third. Seasoning now in a great position to win this race. Can he hold off the 24? No, he's in the wall. Here comes Scotty Jr. now. For the lead. Late in this race. Seasoning back into the wall. Scotty Jr. clear. No. Seasoning takes him out. They will go back under yellow as extra seasoning turns the 24 truck, battling for the lead. Hey, how many laps to go? So when they restart, there will be 11 laps to go. If I'm the 51, there is no way I pit right here. We'll see what he decides to do. Extra seasoning, looking for his first Truck Series win. And Seasoning making no indication that he's about to pit. Oh, nobody's going to pit, so we're going to go green this time by. 12 to go. And the 51, I think, is making the wrong lane choice. You've got to put Mucka behind somebody. You've got to put Mucka behind somebody. He's been the fastest truck all night. A huge mistake by the 51. Although the 52, Scotty D, tried to get inside Mucka. Scotty Jr. in the wall. Here comes Mucka. He got a great run off of 2. The 51 in the wall into Mucka. This is allowing Scotty D to catch up. 11 laps left. Mucka staying patient, just waiting for the 51 to slip up. To go this time by. Mucka to the inside. Scotty D and Scotty Jr. have fallen way out. Seasoning almost hit the wall. Mucka gets to his inside. Now he'll wisely pull back. Now he gets to the inside. Seasoning rubs the wall. Mucka, can he clear? He's going to have to try and clear on the entry of 1. Mucka clears into the lead. And Seasoning's hard into the wall and into the inside wall. That is going to bring out another yellow. Alright, so if you're the 2, there's no way you're going to pit. But everybody else, the 52, the 24, the 51, you just do the opposite of whatever the 2 truck does. If the 2 truck pits, you stay out. And if the 2 truck stays out, you pit. Let's see what Mucka decides. Mucka, it appears, will stay out, but we just saw him pull a late move. And he does stay out. And looks like Seasoning makes it on the pit road. Everybody else pits. So I want to talk about that previous restart. Extra Seasoning chose the bottom with his #1 competitor, Mucka, in 3rd place. So the reason you do not do that is because of what just happened. Mucka easily cleared the 2nd place truck, the 52 of Scotty D. Got right to the back bumper of Extra Seasoning and was able to make the pass. Now, if Extra Seasoning had taken the top lane, that would have put Scotty D in front of Mucka on the restart. And then when Seasoning restarts, you get a good jump from the truck behind you in Scotty Jr. You don't get a good jump from the truck inside of you in Scotty D. Mucka might be back in 4th place. So a huge mistake by Extra Seasoning on that previous restart. So they will restart here with 6 to go. It'll be Scotty D restarting 2nd, Scotty Jr. in 3rd, Seasoning now back in 4th. So now Mucka just needs a clean restart, but everybody else has fresher tires now. Enter the restart zone. And there they go. Mucka gets a great jump. Scotty D just stopped the rest of the field. Oh, and we are going to redo that restart. And Mucka apparently did not make the call to go green. So we will go one more time, this time with just 5 to go. Mucka, Scotty D, Scotty Jr. seasoning. And he gets a great jump again, but this time Scotty Jr.'s right on his back bumper. Scotty Jr.'s gonna look outside. Scotty Jr. trying to get to that back bumper. Oh, might have touched the wall. Didn't seem to affect his speed. Scotty Jr.'s got faster, or has fresher tires. Can he get the job done? Mucka almost in the wall. Scotty Jr. right on his back bumper. Four laps left. Scotty takes a peek. He gets there. Mucka able to clear. Scotty Jr.'s just got to keep applying the pressure. Scotty D getting real loose through 3 and 4. Sorry, Mucka getting loose through 3 and 4. We'll go on board with Scotty Jr. as he tries to take the lead from Mucka. Just kept it off the wall there. 3 laps left. Mucka all over the place. Scotty Jr. gets a run. Gets to the inside. Missed the entry, and that's going to allow Mucka to pull away. 2 laps left. That might have been Scotty Jr.'s best shot at this. Looks like with those tires he's a little faster than Mucka, but the tires might have evened out after that hard racing. He's too far back right now to make a move. Playing with the throttle through 3 and 4. It looks like he gained. He's got a little bit of a run. Last lap at Darlington. Scotty Jr. gets a great run in 1 and 2. He's gonna have to have a prayer here. He sends it. He can't get there. Mucka. Mucka will win at Darlington. Scotty Jr. seasoning 3rd, and it looks like Scotty D wrecked coming to the checkered flag. And he will take home 4th. But Mucka, you're back-to-back Hooters Truck Series winner. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he is.
Alright, I sent a message for the 2 people I want to interview. So, Mucka holds off the late charge from Scotty Jr. We'll try and get him in here. Hey, Mucka, can you leave this party so that I can invite you to a party? Alright, hey, can you make sure you have your audio shared? Alright, awesome. Alright, so joined by Mucka, your Darlington winner. Great run tonight, Mucka.
Yeah, thanks.
So, last caution comes out. Gonna restart with 6 to go. What was your strategy going into that one?
Um, don't pit and stay out front
Yeah.
because making these passes at Darlington is tough. It's very almost impossible to make it past guy in a turn without making some sort of contact. So my whole train of thought was just stay out front.
Alright, so that was what I was thinking you should do as well, but then when everybody else pit, were you a little bit nervous?
Yes, I was. I was like, oh no, everybody else pitted. That means they're going to have tires and I don't. They're going to get some good runs, but I was able to hold them off there.
Yeah, so you've been in the series for 2 weeks. You have 2 wins. So
Yeah,
you've got to be
uh,
pretty confident heading into these playoffs, right?
a little bit, but like you said, this is only my second week with these guys, so I know there's more speed out there. Just happened to be these last 2 weeks, the fields were a little bit shorter, and I kind of had the car to beat.
Yep. Hey, great run tonight, and I'll see you next week.
All right, thank you.
Yep. All right, we're trying to get our third place finisher, Seasoning, in for an interview. Only 4 drivers finishing the race, so we're only going to do 2 interviews, and I thought Seasoning would be a little more interesting than Scotty Jr. tonight. Hey, Seasoning, how you doing?
Doing great.
All right, so you finished third, but you had a real shot at winning this thing.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the last restart you had when you were in the lead.
Okay.
All right, so did you consider your lane's choice at all?
Stuck low because I felt better on the low lane going into turn 1 and 2. And I felt if I get a good restart, I'd have lots of room. So I just stuck with the low lane and went from there.
All right, so because you had Mucka starting third, did you at least consider starting outside so that he would be stuck behind somebody?
Um, I'd rather. I mean, he had speed, so I'd rather maybe have him pushing me. But I did not really think about having him right behind me or starting in third. If you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. All right. So you're qualified for these playoffs. Do you think you have a chance at bringing home the title this year?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I feel pretty good. I feel like anyone who made the playoffs should feel like they have a chance. But I feel pretty strong this with the or season I had, so feeling pretty good.
I mean, you've been a consistent top 5 performer, I would say, in this series.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Yep.
And I'll
You
see you
too.
next week.
Yep.
All right, and that concludes the Hooters Truck Series from Darlington. Next week will be the playoffs, I believe, from Kentucky. So tune in next Monday for Hooters Truck Series playoffs from Kentucky.